Hey everybody, this is Josh. First of all, thank you so much for listening. If you're familiar with the first few episodes of this podcast, this is going to sound a little bit repetitive, but Jack and I recorded a bunch of these episodes before we started releasing them. We have since decided to change the name of the podcast, and while there's going to be references throughout the podcast about the old name, when I'm able to, I'm going back and re-recording the openings to reflect the new name of the podcast, which is The Long List. So if the audio sounds a little bit different from when I'm talking now to when we jump into the podcast in earnest, that's the reason why. I'm recording them in two separate sittings. So without further ado, welcome to The Long List, a podcast where we celebrate movies and pop culture through the storied art of rankings. There are no bad opinions, no wrong answers, and hot takes are always encouraged. I'm Josh Muller, and with me is my brother Jack Muller, and today's episode is all about David Fincher, one of our, collectively favorite directors, I would say.
The Finch. Yes, certainly.
Finch man.
Certainly one of my favorites.
Before we get started, though, I did want to acknowledge, I don't know when this podcast is going out, but this week, Jack, we lost one of the greats. Gene Hackman, movie star, acclaimed actor, multiple Academy Award winner, passed away in his home. Great filmography. Passed away in his home at the age of, I think it was 94.
I thought it was 96, but maybe I'm wrong.
Could be 95. Split the difference. He was old.
Yeah.
We'll give him that.
Yeah.
And he was one of the greats.
Definitely.
I guess we should touch on the fact that the circumstances in his death are a little weird at this point. As we sit here today, not only was he found dead in his home in Arizona, but so was his wife, who was significantly younger, and their dog. So I'm not really sure
what's been there for at least 10 days, and she was partially mummified.
Well, I did not read that.
Yeah. She had signs of mummification.
I don't even know.
I don't know if that's like a timing thing. I don't think it's like they tried to mummify her or something.
I think it's safe to say there's more questions than answers at this point. Yes. I mean, if it was just Gene Hackman, the guy was in his mid-90s.
Yeah.
And
he's also like unrecognizable. I don't know if you had seen photos of him.
Yeah, I have. Yeah. Did not look... Well, he was the same age for... 50 years.
Well, that's the crazy thing is Gene Hackman always looked like Gene Hackman. And then I see a photo of him. That's the last photo taken of him. It's like, that's not Gene Hackman anymore.
He made up for lost time, I guess, in the age department. So great actor. Very sad. Incredible films like French Connection, The Conversation, No Way Out, Hoosiers, Crimson Tide, Royal Tenenbaums, Unforgiven, Birdcage. I mean, throughout the decades, he's made some all-timers, really in every decade since he started in the 70s. Well, since he got famous in the 70s. So R.I.P. to the great one, Gene Hackman. You will be sorely missed. We thought about switching gears and doing a Gene Hackman episode, but didn't really feel like we get the proper research done in time. And so we just decided to stick with this one. We'll do a Gene Hackman episode, I'm sure, at some point down the line, because he's great. And kind of an actor that's, I guess, always Gene Hackman in every role. Like, he's not doing a whole lot of accent work, not doing a whole lot of different things, but he's just so genuine and captivating on screen.
Yeah. He's the same, but pretty different as far as who the characters are.
Yes.
Doesn't do a lot of crazy.
I mean, the guy
out
from
there
French,
stuff, but
Popeye Doyle from French Connection is not the same as Royal Tenenbaum.
Yeah,
but at the same time,
it's very
Gene Hackman. And we're not saying that as a bad thing. There are a lot of actors that do that.
No.
Denzel Washington does that. He's great. Oh, they were in Crimson Tide together too.
Nice.
I mean, there are actors that kind of, in a way, stay in their lane, but still manage to get the emotion and the intensity from the character that they're trying to portray.
It's terrifying and Unforgiven.
Oh my God. So good. And yet, from like a perspective where you at least understand where he's coming from.
Yeah. I suppose.
They don't present him as an evil character. Well, I guess he's evil, but...
Yeah, you're right.
You see his logic even if you don't agree with it, I guess is my point in that movie.
Yeah, he has some bad moments.
Oh, definitely. That's one of my all-time favorites. So it will probably come up in several podcasts. But anyway, we just wanted to give a quick shout out to Gene Hackman and what a great career, and thank him for what he did for the movies. So on to the episode at large. David Fincher, like I said, I'm sure individually, definitely collectively, one of our favorite directors. What about him as a director jumps out to you?
Storytelling, thrills, his camera work, and the way he frames things and moves things is amazing.
Yeah.
I just love watching his movies because whether it's just a pretty straightforward crime thriller or an epic,
drama,
tale that lasts, that spans an entire lifetime, he puts just as much work into camera work.
Yeah. That's interesting that you point out the camera and the framing. I didn't, maybe I had this in the document later. I'm not sure, but I'll just do it now. And that is, I saw this interesting 5-minute YouTube video on the framing of characters and the camera movement of characters, where
in his films,
in his films, and the person doing the video, I forget who it was, so I'm sorry I can't cite it, but the person doing the video was saying that not only do they see it now in every Fincher movie, but they see it in real life. And that is, not only does he follow the characters and their movements, even if subtle movements, but he'll match the speed to the characters as they're walking, as they're standing up out of a chair. If they slow down, the camera slows down. And it's just a really interesting way of not just keeping the shot stationary and singular, but following the characters. And in a way, maybe that garners some different type of emotion. I have trouble sometimes explaining exactly what I like from a technical standpoint that a director does, but I just know that I like it. And that was interesting to see that person pointed that out specifically, which is something I didn't notice.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. He's he's known for being sort of a very technically sound director.
Right. He knows what he's doing.
And
kind of like Spielberg.
Yeah.
He's just mastered the craft of using the camera. But the stories he decides to tell are just, I don't know, so him. Usually so him.
Yeah.
And then the ones that aren't him are just enough not being him to be like, oh, okay, that is him. If that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Vaguely.
Well,
I think I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of leads into what I wanted to say about him, in that one of the things that I really like about David Fincher is that he's willing to tell stories that I might not otherwise see from, let's say, a mainstream director. Not only does he do thrillers, a lot of his movies are really disturbing, and I don't necessarily know that I was searching for that, but and I've also grown up with his movies, so they've always been there. But he's willing to go there in movies that other directors and storytellers might not otherwise go there.
Yeah, or I wouldn't want to watch some of these. On paper, I wouldn't want to watch some of these movies or experience some of these things, but for some reason, when Fincher does it, I'm like,
you can't stop looking away.
Yeah. Right.
Well, that kind of leads me into sort of the first warm-up top 5 I got here. Among other things, like we said, he's known for psychological thrillers, twists in movies. And so I wanted to kind of touch on that with the first top 5, which I've titled Top 5 Fincher What the Fuck Moments.
Yep.
He's
got a lot of WTFs
He
in there.
does. I had a trouble narrowing this list down, especially as I was revisiting some of his movies this week.
Right.
But
because there's usually the movies that have them, there's usually a couple you can pull from.
I have that on here. Yeah.
Right. It's like,
yeah. And I revisited a lot of his movies this week. There's a couple I actually didn't see. We'll get to it as we get through the podcast, and I've seen them all now. But I don't know. There's 2 or 3 that I would say probably don't really go that route with the WTF moments.
Films?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you got Benjamin Button.
Yeah, right.
You got...
I don't really think that's a big part of Mank.
No, yeah, Mank. What's the other... I feel like there's another big one.
Well, we have it. Oh, well, Social Network. I'm not sure that really has really big twists and turns from what we're talking about situation.
Or violence or
right. But he is known for that.
Yes.
And many of the movies that we didn't just mention and we're going to get to all the movies at some point in the podcast. But many of the movies we didn't just mention, not only, like you said, have them, but have them in spades.
Yeah.
So why don't I go first for this one?
Okay.
And then you'll go first. Wait a second.
What?
Hang on. No, I have a plan for this because, okay, why don't you go first for this one? And then I'll go first for the next one, and we can just fill in the blanks of each other's list. I don't know that, because I imagine we're probably going to say the same. At least a couple of them are going to be the same.
We'll just get into it.
Go for it.
Lots to choose from.
Yes.
No wrong answers, honestly, for this.
I don't even know. Mine's not even necessarily ranked. I have like a number one.
Yeah.
I imagine our number one's probably going to be at least.
Mine's ranked, and I just thought of giving props to certain things. I'm just going to get into it.
Just go for it.
Number 5, I've got the killer fight scene.
Okay.
It is long, and it is in the middle of the movie, I'd say.
Yeah.
Pretty smack dab in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Maybe
it's not as long as you think.
Really? It felt long.
Well, yeah.
It felt long. It is intense, gnarly. It's great. It's one of the best hand-to-hand, fight scenes that I can think of, especially in recent years.
I would 100% agree.
It's crazy. It makes the movie for me. I know you like The Killer a lot.
I do.
Yeah. I didn't love it.
Okay.
I gotta say. I'm gonna be honest. But I love that scene.
Makes me a little sad.
I'm sorry. I think we're gonna have a couple of disagreements in Fincher.
There might be. They're not all great, but the ones that are great are great.
Yeah.
I totally agree. That scene's awesome. And I just lost what I was going to say about it. So I'll let you keep talking. If I want to come back to it, I will.
Number 4 I have is the Tyler Durden reveal.
Okay, yeah.
It's pretty WTF-y.
Yeah.
It's maybe not as I don't know. It's so long since I got WTF'd by it, and everybody knows the twist. And
you're right.
I think honestly, a lot of people forget that it's even a twist of the movie, and rewatching it, when you know it, you just notice.
You see the clues.
You see it very clearly, and it's like, how did I not know this sort of thing? But it is a huge twist in film. And
a lot of people read the book too, which
True.
I have not. I'm assuming it's the same in the book.
Right. But also the book came out pretty close after. I mean, the movie came out pretty close after the book. I think the book was 96. Right, so 3 years later, and people probably saw it read it right off the bat. But
right.
I think there's
the population at large maybe did not.
Right.
Yeah. It's a huge twist.
Yeah. Pretty satisfying.
Yeah.
Number 3, I got Lake Berryessa, Zodiac.
Oh,
yeah. There's one other WTF moment, but it's not really WTF. It's more suspense. This one is like, oh man, just from the start. I love when she says, and I actually always thought it was a different line, and I rewatched it last night, and I was like, oh, I've been saying the line wrong, and I can't remember what the actual line is. But she basically says, there's somebody over there. And
you say that all the time.
From that moment on, it's like
it's
terrifying.
It is one of the most unsettling scenes I think I've ever watched.
Yeah.
And it's funny, Becky has not seen Zodiac, and spoiler, it's going to come up in some later lists for me. Yes, so I'm not going to really, reveal everything right now, but it's going to come up in some lists. I love that movie. And I told her it's not intense the whole way through, but there are some intense scenes, and there's one really intense scene. I am always talking about Lake Berryessa, but whenever I mention Zodiac and that one intense scene in Zodiac in front of other people, they're like, oh, you mean the basement scene? Or, oh, you mean the first murder? And I'm like, no.
You're forgetting one very big murder.
Not only that, but stop freaking out my wife because I want her to watch this movie.
Right, yeah.
So, that Lake Berryessa scene it's terrifying the first time. It's terrifying the 75th time. And honestly, I have trouble watching it.
Me too. Yeah, it's definitely very hard to watch. I mean, you see people get stabbed in the back 7 times right in front of you. And it's kind of comes out of nowhere because he's holding a gun to them and is just silent the whole time. And they really, especially the dude, do not think that they are going to get killed. like the entire scene is that man thinking he is being robbed and just not understanding the gravity of the situation, which is kind of one of the best parts because you do understand the gravity of the situation. Right. And
I mean, you know, and it's just like, it's tough to see people tied up like that. Just like, oh my God. Yeah. It's tough.
Yeah. And the contrast of like the grass and the brightness of the scene and how dark he, well, no, and how black he is with his mask. And he's all boxy.
Yeah.
Oh man. I don't know if now is the time to talk about this.
Go for it.
But the documentary that just got released on Netflix called This is the Zodiac Speaking, essentially going into Arthur Lee Allen being the main suspect. And
I did not even know about this.
Okay. So Arthur Lee Allen had like a group of children who were like his friends.
Creepy.
And yeah, he was just like the neighborhood nice guy. And he was friends with these and possibly lovers with these kids' mom. They essentially were at every murder in a car.
What?
Waiting because they thought they went on drives with him and like throughout everywhere. And later on, and the craziest part is that all these kids, they were obviously started suspecting him once the cops started suspecting him. But it wasn't until they watched the movie Zodiac in theaters that they realized how he was almost definitely the Zodiac, because they were like, God, we were there that day at Lake Berryessa. We were there that day at blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's super crazy.
Okay, well, I'm going to watch that.
Which is this was my first time rewatching it since watching that documentary. And it was a whole other factor of this scene, the fact that this man got out of a car and was like, wait in the car, kids, I got to go do something.
Oh my God.
Went and murdered these two people. Anyway.
Allegedly.
Okay, number two.
So far, we don't have any of the same, and I didn't expect that.
I like it. Number 2, I got Rapist Pig.
Yeah.
I love Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I just love that movie. The Rapist Pig scene is one of the most conflicting, emotionally conflicting scenes you're ever in, because
it's terrible to watch.
It's terrible to watch, but you're like, fuck this guy. This guy is a rapist pig. And she gets him so good.
Oh my
and it's
God.
such a long, thought out, drawn out plan, kind of.
Yeah, she's meticulous.
She's very meticulous. She's like a superhero in that movie. Yeah. I saw somebody else compare her to that. She's like essentially a superhero and has all these great, powers. Anyways, it's tough.
It is.
You're getting skin carved into, you're getting, I don't know, tasered, this guy gets tortured, essentially, for those who don't know.
Dildo up certain orifices.
Of course, yeah.
Significantly.
Definitely.
A metal one.
Big metal one. Big one.
Yeah. Yeah. It's it's rough.
It's a rough one.
I actually had a different one from Girl with a Dragon Tattoo, and then when I was rewatching it, I was like, there's a third in here.
Oh, yeah, there's this one. Yeah.
So I'll bring that up in a minute.
Number 1, I got What's in the Box.
Yeah, me too. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
That had to be number 1.
Of course. First time I watched it with my girlfriend, she was digging that movie all the way through, and I was like, this is great. She likes dark movies like that. Falls asleep.
Oh my God.
As they are driving. It was late. Falls asleep as they are driving out in the desert.
Oh no.
I'm like, you can't fall asleep yet. She did. She was like, she wasn't having it.
I'm out.
Yeah. So we had to rewatch it later.
Another one that Becky will not watch with me again.
Yeah.
It's
Has she seen it?
She has.
Okay.
Yeah. That movie, I mean, that ending it's perfect, but it's so fucked up.
That movie is WTF the whole time.
Yeah, but
in the way that Social Network is not WTF, 7 is. It has so many just like horrifying scenes.
It really does. But even at the end, they somehow managed to like turn it up with that scene.
Right,
it's like,
right.
You thought we were here and you've been in a bad mood the whole time.
Yeah.
Let me just like light you on fire at the end.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I think we're going to talk about this later, but Fincher getting accidentally sent.
Oh, I have it.
The screenplay. Right. I think that was one of the things that was different about the.
Let's just do it now.
Okay.
He got sent a screenplay, And
it was the first draft.
It was the first draft.
Accidentally.
Right. And they were like, oh, no, we have a newer draft for you. We want you to do this version. I don't know what the ending would have been in that version, but it was different. And he was like, that's not the movie I want to do. Right. I want to do this first draft.
Yeah.
So.
Then we got the 7 that we all wanted. And
Dark.
Dark.
So anyway, good top 5. I'm surprised we have a bunch of different things on here. So I'm just going to run through mine quickly. So I have the keys in the cab from the game when, the game's going on. Michael Douglas is going through it. Okay, it's a game. They're messing with them. Oh, they're not messing with them. This is actually real. No, it is a game. And then there's the scene in the cab where the keys come out and his brother, who's played by Sean Penn, who's, spoiler alert, fast forward if you don't want to know the ending of the game, but it is a game in the end, and Sean Penn is in on it, but he's going nuts in the scene, and you're supposed to collect keys throughout the process of the game, and all of a sudden there's all these keys, and he's freaking out, and he's like not catfishing, he's gaslighting Michael Douglas, saying, you're in on it, everybody's in on it, they're after me, he's just going nuts in the scene. And that was when I was like, oh, this movie is turning up. And that was when I was like, oh, okay, this is real. And eventually it's not, but
right.
That's when they got
really
me,
pull you back and forth.
They do. And that was when I was finally like, okay, it's real. He's freaking out. This dude tried to dump it off on his brother and it's not working. But anyway, I have that one. So
that's interesting because you would think that the WTF moment would be the reveal at the end, but without this moment, it's like it wouldn't be as convincing,
right?
And then it wouldn't work in the end.
I thought about that. Yeah. I also thought about another one earlier in the movie because there's a couple of them. I mean, that's the staple of Fincher movies. There's a couple of what the fuck moments throughout his movies, but this was the one where it like turned it up for me. So you had The Rapist Pig. I have The Murder Room in Dragon Tattoo.
Yeah,
that was.
This would have been, am probably going to bring this up later.
Yeah. It was crazy when I saw this in the theaters because obviously it's a pretty dark movie. We're dealing with some disturbing stuff. I knew something was going to happen. We're kind of building up to it. Did not expect Murder Room.
Enya. It is.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It is brilliant. And it would not. Enya made it. The fact that they used that. I remember in the theaters watching it with Alex and the Enya thing. We just ate it up. It's so good. It's fucked up. It's a fucked up scene.
It's really fucked up. I still have trouble watching him try to breathe through the plastic bag.
I wonder how they did that.
They probably just
did it
in like quick 5-second shifts.
Man, that could really mess up your brain, man.
I don't know, man. Rough. I also, when I was watching that movie, right before the Rapist Pig scene, the actual scene,
right,
when you think it's going to be one thing based on what she did in the office. I don't know if we want to really talk about it, but he coerced her into giving a blowjob in the office. Yeah. And so she thinks she's going over for that. Turns into something significantly worse when he throws the handcuffs on her. Oh my God, that is a what the fuck scene too. So I almost put that in there, but I went Murder Room. I didn't really want to talk about the other scene.
Yeah,
it's really rough. So I have 2 scenes from the same movie coming up, and I somewhat apologize, but it's my list, and I don't really care. Amy Dunn is alive in Gone Girl.
Ugh.
The twist that happens halfway through. You don't like it?
No, it's good.
I guess. It happens halfway through the movie. I didn't see it coming. I didn't read the book. What's going on? This movie is all over the place. So I have that one.
I can't remember if it was spoiled for me.
Oh, that would suck.
It certainly. Yeah. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time remembering my first watching of it and if I was shocked or if someone hinted that something changes in the movie. But I think if they were to hint, I would have been able to guess.
Right. Well, for whatever it's worth, I saw it fairly recently. So not I saw it before we decided to do this episode. I saw it maybe 2 or 3 years ago or something, but I didn't see it when it came out.
Yeah.
So it's relatively fresh in my mind. In the same movie, I have the Neil Patrick Harris throat cutting, blood gushing everywhere murder.
Yeah.
I was like, I get it. This movie's good. I'm liking it. I'm in it. She's somehow going to get out of here. She cuts that dude's throat. And the music, wow, wow, wow. It's like
it's so much blood.
What the hell is going on in this movie?
Yeah. Yeah.
That still hits me hard.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Gone Girl.
NPH. My guy. Well,
that was great casting.
And then number 1 I had What's in the Box. We talked about it.
Was that 6?
Oh,
you were.
Well, no.
Combined.
Oh, I talked about a few from Dragon Tattoo, even though I had the Murder Room, and then I did 2 from that was Keys, Murder Room, 2 from that movie we just talked about, and What's in the Box.
All right, cool.
So
it's a good top 5.
So is yours, and the fact that we didn't mention a bunch, kind of goes to what we're talking about,
right?
So if you're uninitiated in the Fincher world, and you would like to be, sorry we ruined some things, and buckle up, man.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but I would say 75% of his movies, you gotta be prepared.
Yeah. Also, if you're worried about spoilers, it's pretty tough to talk about Fincher at large capacity without giving spoilers. So
right, and also, I don't care, man. These movies are old. Go watch it, except for The Killer. But we didn't really spoil anything from The Killer. Go watch it. All right. Well, moving on. Fincher, renowned director. Couple questions. They all lead into each other. Where does he rank in your heart? What
he'd be top 3. He's
top 3.
He's way up there.
Yeah.
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 I just appreciate him a lot. I mean, I think me talking about, his camera work earlier is that's at the end of the day, that's what sets him apart, is that he's making, thriller sort of films, and he's putting a lot of effort into it. Yeah. Into the way they look. I mean, they are beautiful. I watched do you know the YouTube page Amazing Shots?
I loosely, I'm not a scholar.
It's basically just a montage of either a single film or a director's, greatest shots, and they put it to music. And
I think I did do that with Fincher. I think I watched that for this episode.
Yeah. And his is just great.
It's great.
It's just even his individual movies, it's just man, I could just sit here and watch these. It's great.
Yeah, I agree. It's the combination of telling really compelling stories and being technically proficient. I think that, again, I'm not necessarily sitting there taking notes on all the different crazy things that he does with the camera. He's storied for doing many takes. We got that coming up in the podcast. He's a maniac, and he wants to be perfect, and he wants to get it right, and it very often does. I mean, he has very few true misses in his career, I would say. We're going to go through the whole career, but
it's also interesting that he seems like the writer of his films, because they all have got some sort of similar vibe somewhat. But he's not.
But he's not. I have that coming up.
And they're all different screenwriters, or at least many of them. Quick dialogue, twists, thrills, they all kind of, I wonder how he picks them.
Well, yeah, and I think that goes to sort of his accomplishments as a visual storyteller. He can work with different scripts. How many times does he work with Sorkin?
Only once.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why I told myself it was multiple times.
I thought it was multiple times. The guy that wrote Seven wrote a couple of his movies, or at least worked on a couple more movies. Just really interesting. Where do you think? I guess we'll do contemporaries first. Where do you think he ranks with his contemporaries?
He's up there, man.
Yeah.
Are we talking? We're talking Tarantino. Do we throw Spielberg in?
Spielberg's a little bit before. I think he's on a different level.
Yeah.
As far as historical significance. Yeah, I agree. That's interesting you brought up Tarantino, because I thought I had this in my notes. I guess I don't. Maybe it's somewhere later, but I'll do it now. But I saw an interesting interview with Tarantino where, he praised David Fincher, thinks he's incredible, loves his movies, but he doesn't necessarily consider him on the same level, because Tarantino is a writer-director and Fincher
Tarantino's saying this about himself?
Yes.
Okay.
But Fincher is just a director. He considers PTA more of his contemporary, because they're both writer-directors. I want to know what you thought about that.
I think it's an argument. I think he breaks that mold. I think you would be able to say that about many other people. I don't think it quite works for Fincher, because he is such an auteur. Yeah.
And I also think we wouldn't be even having that discussion if Tarantino's movies weren't good. Like, there's lots of writer-directors out there.
Right.
His movies are good. And I'm sure they would be good if someone else wrote them. And if he took a script that he liked and wanted to do the movie, like, I'm sure it would be good. I get his point, but
I think he creates enough in his films to be able to, like, still be...
Who, Fincher?
Yes.
Right. I think he has a visual style. He certainly has stories that he wants to tell. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I think we're nitpicking. I personally, I hope he didn't mean it as that is insulting, because...
I mean, he picked Social Network as his top movie of the 2010s.
Right. Yeah. So it was an interesting... No, yeah, it came out in 2010. Right. It was an interesting comparison. I don't necessarily disagree, and I'm not a filmmaker, so who am I to say? But I just, you know, I don't think you have to write the movie to be vaulted into such rare air.
Right.
All right, we're going to run through his career, go through his filmography. We'll talk about the movies as they come up, but we kind of just wanted to set up a background of his career, and we're going to do that after the break. So we'll take a quick break. We'll come right back. All right, so let's run through his career. He's a Bay Area guy. You and I love that.
Yep.
Got to start with Industrial Light and Magic, George Lucas' company. I read as a cameraman, which I guess makes sense, and he worked on Temple of Doom and Return of the Jedi, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Then he left to do commercials, and I couldn't tell if he started this company, but there was a lot of people that were involved with this company, his production company called Propaganda Films.
Yeah, I believe he did start it.
Yeah, and a lot of directors got their start there. Michael Bay, Gore Verbinski, Spike Jonze, Antoine Fuqua, Zack Snyder. I didn't know that. I mean, I knew... Well, then he started doing music videos.
Right.
Pretty prominent music videos. And I know Spike Jonze got his start with that, too. I don't know if the rest of them did, but that's cool that they all kind of got their start doing smaller projects with that. And then, I mean...
Spike Jonze is in the game.
Is he?
Yeah, I don't really remember him, but I saw him on the IMDb. As one of the actors, yeah.
He shows up in movies sometimes.
Yeah, he's always in random movies.
He's in Moneyball, you know.
Really?
Yeah, he's Robin Wright's new husband in Moneyball.
Yeah, totally.
When are we going to get a new Spike Jonze movie?
I'm ready for it.
Come on, man.
I wonder if there's one
Make
planned.
Some movies. Look it up. Anyway, those music videos I mentioned, amongst others, he did some for Madonna, Michael Jackson, Aerosmith, Billy Idol, Rolling Stones, and then even as recently as Justin Timberlake, after he'd already made a prominent film career. Got his start...
Before or after Social Network?
I think after... Oh, that probably makes sense. I think after. I don't have it on here, but I remember it being 2013. I don't know what song, but that would be after. So that's cool. Got his first feature film as a start in Alien 3. It was in 1992. Didn't like it. Apparently didn't get support from the production company, or the producers, I should say. He hates it. He has a quote, "No one hated it more than me. To this day, no one hates it more than me." So he has since disowned the movie. I don't like it very much either.
I actually haven't even seen the whole thing. I started watching it. I was just like, I don't like this vibe.
It's a fun watch, I guess. And it's not like it, you know, if it's on late at night, it would be a fun one to just jump into. But Alien and Aliens are just like all-timers for me. And it's nowhere close to that. So, I mean, I get that. Sigourney Weaver also supported him, who's the, you know, star of the Alien franchise, at least up to that point. And that was she said, quote, "That was a transition moment for the movie studios when they stopped being about let's make great films and started being about let's not lose money," which is something that we've talked about a lot and we'll probably continue to talk about a lot, just how the idea around movie making has changed and viewing movies as a financial opportunity in many ways and in many instances will affect the end product of the film. And she said, I lost it. She said, "They had a great idea to put David Fincher aboard this film, but then not to support the guy was very idiotic." So at least for those who worked on the film and the big star of the film, you know, she's a David Fincher fan after that. So kind of a drag. So the version that I watched, I guess, was a later version that came out in like 2002.
Like a director's cut, but not a director's cut?
Not a director's cut, but like someone else cut it and recut it. It was a little bit longer, and it was good, so I haven't seen the theatrical version. I have all the Alien movies on Blu-ray, and both versions were on it. What's that?
I said that's not surprising.
Well, except for Romulus.
Come on.
Well,
no, I haven't seen Romulus either.
Yeah, so I'll get there. So after Alien 3, from what I understand, he was like, out. I'm done making movies. And then, as we discussed, he got a little script of about a movie called Seven, and that's the movie he wanted to make, and we are off.
It's so interesting that Seven, I'm just going to call it his first film, even though it really wasn't, but it's interesting that he just gets going with Seven, because if you need to like sum up, if someone had never heard of David Fincher and you were like, what's he all about? You'd be like, go watch Seven.
Go watch Seven.
Yeah. And because it's funny that he just starts off making a very David Fincher film.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He doesn't lead into it with something else. It's just like, boom, this is what you're going to get for the next, 30 years.
He's pulling out all the tricks. He's working with a couple big time movie stars. Brad Pitt was up and coming at that point. I guess at that point Morgan Freeman wasn't a huge star, but he had just done Shawshank, which was we don't have to talk about that. It's a super well loved movie. He got nominated for all those Oscars and is another all timer for me. So again, to your point, it's not really starting off, but starting off with the bang once he really got going doing projects that he wanted to do. Then he moves on to The Game in 1997. Good movie. Has some flaws. Has some plot holes. Yeah. But a fun movie to watch anyway. Didn't quite meet the box office expectations. I'm sorry. I got that on my next one. So after he does The Game, he moves right into Fight Club, which was, like you said, it was based on a book, but the book wasn't out for a long time, but it was a popular book and got optioned to be a movie pretty soon after its release.
Yeah, like right off the bat.
Yeah. And people
even maybe before its release.
I wish I had that in my notes. I don't know. Are you going to look it up? No. So Fight Club happens. People were expecting it. Again, he's working with Brad Pitt, Edward Norton. Both of them are pretty much at the peak of their powers as far as stardom in the late 90s. And it came out, and to say it was a mixed review situation might be an understatement. A lot of people, it's still a volatile and polarizing movie, but a lot of people hated it. A lot of people loved it. Didn't quite meet the box office expectations that everybody was hoping, but then they made up for that in the DVD sales. And
big time.
Yeah. I don't think I saw it in the theater, but, that was like right before I went to college. And then by the time I get to college, everybody has Fight Club.
Right.
It was one of those that everybody had in their dorm
became
room.
a huge cult.
Yeah. Like that and Big Lebowski. And there's just movies that, Dazed and Confused. Everybody had a certain amount of movies that were just in everybody's dorm room. Right. And that was one of them. So he goes from Fight Club, and then he does Panic Room in 2002, which is another good movie. And then Zodiac in 2007. So 5-year break. Zodiac is another big technical achievement based on how they redid San Francisco to match the time. And just like, well, I didn't mention this, but just like The Game, it's set in San Francisco, obviously, which is, this is a historical movie or a movie about a historical event. Well, Zodiac's incredible.
Yeah, Zodiac's great. I remember seeing it in theaters.
Yeah, me too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It kind of got lost in the shuffle of what is a historically great 2007 movie year. There's No Country and Michael Clayton.
There Will Be Blood.
There Will Be Blood. Assassination of Jesse James.
This is back also in the five Best Picture time.
Got shut out at the Oscars. Didn't get nominated for anything. Apparently,
Zodiac?
Yeah. Apparently, I think.
Crazy.
Might have to look that up and confirm, but I'm pretty sure it didn't get nominated for anything. And it also came out earlier in the year. So far as I understand it, they were trying to get it to release for Oscars in the 2006 year, like at the end of the year. But David Fincher in his ways just kept editing, and he just wasn't ready for it. And it released in early 2007 and maybe just got lost in the shuffle.
Man, that's crazy that it didn't get nominated for anything.
Also, not a huge commercial success, but I think over time people have realized its importance in his personal movie catalog. 2008, we get The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Huge critical success, and they made up for it. And that, did you know, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button curiously got nominated for 13 Oscars.
Yeah, I remember that. It's crazy.
That's either a record or like one off the record. If the record's 14, I don't know what got 14, but that's really close to the record. Incredible.
Because it got, it had all the production.
Yeah, I mean,
awards, along with all of the along with the big five.
Right. It got all the under, below the line stuff, and it won for art direction, makeup, and visual effects, which I think is fair. I mean, it's a beautiful looking film, and the visual effects, while maybe not flashy, I mean, the way they make Brad Pitt look like a little old man as he's 7 years old.
Yeah, it's super impressive.
It's very impressive.
Yeah.
So, good one. 2010, we get The Social Network. Another big commercial success.
Yeah.
Nominated for a bunch of Oscars. Aaron Sorkin wrote the screenplay. We mentioned that. He won an Oscar for that screenplay. I think that's his second. I could be wrong. Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, which are big-time Fincher collaborators, won for score.
And this was their first.
That was their first Oscar.
That was their first score.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They started off, and ever since Social Network, they pretty much do one every couple of years.
Yeah.
And it's always good. They've been nominated they maybe have won multiple times. They get nominated every year.
Yeah, and they have an interesting, it's a little it's electronic, and then it's
it's like prog
cerebral
rock mixed with, and then just the score is amazing also.
It is.
Just mixed with that one little piano part.
Well, I was going to say that there's a couple movies out there, not a couple, there's a bunch of movies out there where they just kind of repeat the same motif, and it's really good and really effective. Just almost like resetting the scene.
Right.
Another one of my favorites does that is Spotlight. Got to mention that.
Right. Or the Santa Claus. They use the piano part in Social Network like they use the ba-da-ba-doo ba-ba in the Santa Claus. It just hits at the perfect moments.
Santa Claus before its time,
Yeah,
it keeps on giving. So it did not win Best Picture or Best Director, and I think through the annals of history, we would probably want to go back and do that one over again. I'm talking about Social Network.
Yeah.
King's Speech won that year for director, and
King's Speech is super good. I'm fine with it winning. Maybe King's Speech winning Best Picture, I guess. But the fact that Tom Hooper won director is beyond me.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I really like King's Speech, but I think I don't know. How do I say this? I don't think people are going to be talking about King's Speech.
They already are not talking about King's Speech.
It's
you say King's Speech, people are like, what the hell are you talking about?
I do really like it, though.
I do, too. It's solid. Funny enough, the screenplay is, really good. And
yeah.
Was that original? No, that had to be adapted to it.
I don't know how that works.
What do you mean?
You mean, adapted from real life, or was there a book about it?
Was there a book? Did it get nominated for...
Are we talking about King's Speech or Social Network?
King's Speech. Did it lose to Social Network?
I do not have that in my notes. My mistake.
That's okay.
I also don't know, is Social Network adapted or original?
Yes. It was called... Yeah. It's based off a book.
Okay.
Called... Man, I can't think of it.
I'll keep going. You come up with it. 2011, we get The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which is also adapted from a pretty big property of a series of books. It's great, and I'm sad we didn't get more.
The Accidental Billionaires.
The Accidental Billionaires is the book that Social Network is based on?
Yes, I'm sorry.
I guess.
Should have gotten that quicker.
Didn't read it. Didn't make my reading list. I'm bummed we didn't get more Dragon Tattoo movies. Because
me too.
I guess I read that it was because it wasn't a huge financial success, but I remember it being a pretty big hit, and I looked it up and it made $230 million worldwide. Yeah. And in the world of IP that we currently live in today, where people are constantly making franchises, I kind of want that Fincher franchise.
I could definitely go for the
I want to see the Zag
franchise.
to the IP era.
Especially that one, man. I love Girl with a Dragon Tattoo. I could have watched Daniel Craig and Rooney Mara for 5 more movies. Easy.
Yeah. Easy. So, bummer. What are you going to do? Then he kind of got big into Netflix, and I read, as I was doing this outline, I read that he just re-upped his contract with Netflix through 2027. So he's still going to be making Netflix stuff. In 2013, he was an executive producer on House of Cards, interested in telling longer form stories rather than just movies and really kind of getting into the character. 2014, he does Gone Girl, another popular novel. Big hit.
Big hit.
Maybe his biggest hit? Maybe? Not sure about that. And then he does Mindhunter for a few years afterwards. And again, another Netflix show. Pretty good. I made the mistake, or maybe Netflix made the mistake when I was watching it through the first time. And I saw the first, 4 episodes or something, and then took a break. And when I came back to it, they played season 2, episode 5, rather than season 1, episode 5. Not going to lie, possible chance of operator error on my part. But I don't really.
I'm going to believe that Netflix is the.
I can't just. I just have a trouble believing that I would have searched episode 5 rather than just hit the next episode. But whatever. All right, I'll take 30% of the blame on that. Okay. But
wow,
it was still. And then I kept watching it. I was like, I'm a little confused, but I haven't watched it in a while, so I guess I'll just pick it up.
How far did you get?
I've watched the rest of the season.
My God,
it was good.
That is insane.
I went back and watched the rest of the first season later on, but I haven't watched the beginning of the second season. I was like, I get it. So Mindhunter's good. And then in 2020, he goes back to movies for a Netflix movie, and it's Mank, which is a little bit of a passion project for him. It was based on screenwriter Herman Mankiewicz, who wrote a little movie called Citizen Kane. And apparently it's based on a screenplay that his late father had written. It's David Fincher's.
Yeah, it's credited to him.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
He gets the credit. Jack Fincher, which is a cool name.
That is a cool name.
Gone Girl is the biggest box office hit. Good call.
Had that one. Thank you.
$369.3 million, dude. That's
good movie.
Pretty huge.
And it helps that it was a big book.
Man.
You don't like it that much.
There's one twist halfway through the movie, and it's like, okay, we get it.
No, I like that movie.
No, I like it too. And honestly, Ben Affleck's pretty good in it. He's like the perfect dude to be that dude.
Yeah. Yeah, he, especially with all his, kind of going on with his life.
True.
Yeah. I don't know if we want to get into that, but.
Yeah.
Mank came out 2020, another 10 Oscar nominations. One for cinematography and production design. Fincher shut out again himself. And they made The Killer in 2023, which we talked about. Another Netflix movie. I'm kind of bummed that, I haven't checked on all of them. I don't love Mank and I don't love Benjamin Button. But Benjamin Button came before Netflix. But, I can't get The Killer in physical form at this juncture. No Blu-rays.
Bummer.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I guess.
It's all right.
I want it on the wall, Jack.
I know. I get it. It's a big collection. Can't have The Killer. Not going to happen.
They'll do it. Somebody will do it eventually.
Nobody's going to do that. Nobody cares.
Yeah. So, pretty great career through and through.
I'd say so.
I would say in the last, what is that? Maybe 15 years, he's been doing a little bit of different things. He obviously got into television. He's been doing some, maybe not necessarily psychological thrillers like he's been used to, but sort of venturing into other worlds. So I haven't liked his recent movies as much as a lot of his earlier movies. Right. Or maybe not earlier, but first half.
At the same time, it's there's not that many movies to choose from.
Right.
You know what I mean?
He makes one every 2 or 3 years.
Right.
Yeah. Well, he was pumping them out a little bit more before he started getting into TV. Also, the whole TV thing, maybe it would have happened anyway, but House of Cards was a huge success. Netflix side decided, let's make more shows. And maybe that's a reason why we're getting more or when we got more prestige TV rather than movies, all the writers started going to TV. I'm not sure there's a direct line to that, but...
You think it was Finch?
I think you can make
Makes
the
sense.
argument.
House of Cards did set off. It was right. That was the year that it all started getting big with TV.
Yeah, and Fincher is a huge, not only box office but critically successful director, and he moves to TV. I
he also makes a lot of Hollywood moves. I mean, there's just like, I don't know, behind the scenes, executive producing, who knows what he's doing.
Right.
Who knows what he's got his fingers in.
Right.
Which I respect.
Yeah.
He's not just your average, artistic, like, makes a movie and then disappears and doesn't do anything. He's there. He's in the background.
Yeah. So apparently he's been linked to a lot of other projects over the years and eventually passed on him. We're going to get to whatever his next movie is coming up, and I hope that's not a continued trend because I really want to see this movie. We'll get to that. But here are some of the... I kind of wanted to do movies that we wish David Fincher would make. We can take that into hypothetical situations that we want to see him make. But I also have a list here of movies that he did not do and passed on that I really want to see the David Fincher version of.
Right.
So here's my list. There are 5. Oh, wait, are there 6? No, there's 5 movies here.
High fives.
High fives. I thought we were going to have to do high sixes real quick. World War Z 2. He's been rumored to do this one for a long time. It would be Brad Pitt again. And I do want to see him do like a big studio production movie.
I didn't see the first World War Z.
It's good. It's not great. It's good.
Why would he do the sequel?
I don't know, but he's been linked to it.
That's so random.
I agree, but I want to see it.
Yeah, sure.
I want to see him do something like that. He was initially offered to make Batman Begins before Christopher Nolan.
Badass.
Maybe not before, but in conjunction with, and turned it down. And amongst many other things in life...
A David Fincher Batman.
I would like to see a David Fincher Batman. We're kind of getting that with The Batman.
It has Fincher vibes for sure.
It definitely does. And it's awesome. And
so do the Nolan ones, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, not really.
I mean, from a technical standpoint, I guess.
That's what I was...
Yeah. I don't necessarily... Even me, I don't think I've expressed this too much on the podcast. You know that I will eat up anything that is Batman.
True. He's a big Batman guy.
So... Even I will admit, I don't know that we necessarily need more Batman movies, but if tomorrow I read in the papers that David Fincher was doing a Batman movie, I would send my money into the studio and say, just reserve myself a seat on day one. So anyway, I'd like to see him do a heist or like a cat and mouse caper movie, which is cat and mouse caper. That's a little killerish, but apparently he turned down Catch Me If You Can, which is a great movie, and I love it. And Spielberg's awesome, but I'd like to see David Fincher's version of something like that.
Me too. That's interesting because it feels like such a Spielberg film.
It does, but at the same time, I could see where Fincher might take it a little bit more darkly.
Of course, it would be. I could see that story being darker, but
yeah, it gets pretty dark too. But I want to see. Yeah, I want to see David Fincher's version. Harry Potter apparently turned that down.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, probably for the best, if I'm being honest.
Interesting that they would choose like an American. Maybe an American ended up doing it.
Yeah, I think the first one was Chris Columbus. He's American.
He's American? Okay. Harry Potter.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much I want to see a David Fincher directing a kids movie situation, but I would watch it.
Sign me up.
He apparently said, quote, "I wanted to be kind of creepy." No shit.
Which is funny because they got creepy once that other dude started directing him.
Yeah.
Like the third one, it's just
Zach
the
Quaron?
third one. Yeah, that's what it was. And he just did one of them, and it's pretty dark and
weird. It gets pretty dark. Well, they get darker as they go on, but I also think that's just because the story's got a little bit more mature. Right. A little. Anyway. Yeah. We'll cover Harry Potter later. Yeah. And apparently he turned down Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker.
Man.
Which is a drag. And, probably good for him. It was probably not the right move, but that movie sucked.
Right.
And I would like to see a good Star Wars movie.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we'll litigate Star Wars in future episodes, but the recent movies and how they eventually turned out, I mean, I
had a lot of hope with Force Awakens, and I was sorely disappointed. Force Awakens is now not good because the next ones weren't good.
Yeah. I have been turned off, even like the original Star Wars, which are still all-timers for me. I like them a little bit less now because of what's happening. Yeah. Although Andor got me back a little bit.
Andor got you back.
I do love Andor. Apparently, David Fincher's next film, which allegedly starts shooting in 2025, is some. Oh, did you want to touch on like other hypothetical movies that we want to see Fincher do?
I mean,
let's talk about this.
Well, right. I mean, this is pretty much what I would want to see.
Right.
His next film.
When we initially started doing the outline, we were thinking hypothetical David Fincher films that we want to see. And the first one I thought of is actually what he's doing next.
Yeah.
It's called Bitterroot, and it is a Western crime thriller about an aging rancher who seeks revenge after his life savings are stolen. I can't imagine a movie I would like to hypothetically draw.
It's already my favorite movie of all time.
It's going to be a Netflix movie. I hope they release it in the theaters. If they don't, everybody will be able to watch it anyway. But I would like to see that movie in the theaters if I can. I love Westerns. I love crime thrillers. Let's put them together. I love Fincher movies. That's like exactly how I would draw up a movie I want to create.
Yeah, 100%.
Perfect movie for Josh. And then apparently he's also been linked to Squid Game America, which I don't know when that's coming out, and a Chinatown prequel, which I was surprised to read. I don't know who's asking for that, but
we actually get to find out what happened in Chinatown.
True. I didn't even think about that.
Right. I mean, yeah, that whole movie is about something that you don't even really
You never even realize. Oh, man. Well, also, now I got mixed feelings because that's part of what makes the movie great.
Right. No, I certainly don't need a Chinatown prequel.
I don't need it, but if someone like Fincher is doing it, I will absolutely watch it and go in with an open mind.
Of course.
It's kind of one of those movies that I just don't want touched. But also, I don't think it has the same hold on the zeitgeist now. It's 50 years old. So,
right.
Unless you're a big movie head, you probably have never seen Chinatown.
Right.
My sister-in-law, Claire, took a film class at UCLA. It was an elective. She's not in film school, but she took a basic level film class, and she had to do a report on the movies from the 70s. And she's like, "What movie should I do?" I was like, "Jaws." She's like, "No, I don't want to do that." I was like, "Godfather." She's like, "Everybody doing that." I was like, "That makes sense." She's like, "What about this movie I heard about Chinatown?" I was like, "Yep, that's the one. Do it. Don't even ask any more questions. That's the one."
Perfect.
And she got back to me. I forgot about it. Weeks later, I didn't even remember that conversation. And she got back to me. It was like, "That movie ended pretty dark." I was like, "What movie?" She's like, "Chinatown." I was like, "Oh, yeah."
Yeah.
Should have gave you a little heads up.
Creeps up on you.
Yeah. Oh, man. It does take a turn. That's one of my favorites. I love that movie.
Yeah, it's kind of a Fincher-y movie.
It is. That's probably why he's doing the prequel.
Checks out.
I like it. I want to watch it.
Sort of. I like him doing period pieces.
I do too.
I think that's fun. And like kind of grand films. I think he
Zodiac.
does a good job. Right. He does a good job of like making small stories big.
And making big stories small?
Yeah. I don't think that part necessarily
well, I think he
checks out. But he or something like Benjamin Button, which is pretty big in both capacities. Like it's a big film and it's a pretty long story, but he's still able to like do it. It's a huge story.
Right.
That somehow he encapsulates in a pretty, straightforward way.
Yeah, definitely. And he really like zeroes in on the character.
Right.
Although, well, maybe I'm sure it'll come up.
When are we going to talk about Benjamin Button?
I don't know. Do you want to do it now?
No.
Okay. All right. Why don't we take that's basically David Fincher's career in a nutshell. And I'm sure we're going to be talking about these movies coming up. So why don't we take a quick break and we'll kind of dive into the analysis. Okay. All right. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come right back. All right. We mentioned tone. We mentioned twists. We kind of touched on his technical prowess. He's extremely detail-oriented, and he's very famous for doing dozens of takes, especially as he kind of gets later into his career and starts using digital film rather than actual film, probably because it's cheaper. Reportedly, he did 99 takes on a scene in The Social Network, which we may or may not get to, and if we don't, it could come up organically in lists.
Right.
And if it doesn't, well, I'll just say it now. I think he used 99 takes on that first scene in the bar. Yeah, the opening scene with Rooney Mara and Eisenberg.
So good.
Yeah, really great scene. we should mention it now in case it doesn't come up organically later in the list. But that's a great scene, and reportedly it took 99 takes, which I get that it would be really frustrating at times for actors, but it seems to be mixed opinions. I actually watched an interview, or I watched a montage of interviews on YouTube with a bunch of actors talking about that. Some love it, some don't.
I could see Jesse Eisenberg liking it.
Right. Well, it kind of gives you a freedom to do a bunch of different things.
Right.
And someone was, I forget who it was. Oh, I can't remember his name, but it's Richard Harris's son, who is, he's the captain in Benjamin Button. He's
really,
yeah,
Richard Harris's son.
Yeah, that's Richard Harris's son. He's in Chernobyl. He's Ulysses S. Grant in Lincoln. Love that dude. Kind of just shows. I can't remember his first name.
He's in Mr. Deeds.
Is he?
Yeah, he's the like guy who runs the magazine.
I don't remember.
Yeah, Mr. Deeds. That's great.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
Jared Harris.
There we go. Sorry, Jared Harris. Great actor. But he was saying stuff like, listen, as an actor on a movie set, you're oftentimes just waiting around in a trailer. So with David Fincher, I get to act.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool.
Right.
So his philosophy, his being David Fincher's, is...
Also think about if you're doing like a play, how many times you're going to do a monologue in rehearsals, and then how many times you're going to do it in performances.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's...
Oftentimes you're probably doing it the same way, or at least once you kind of get the feel in front of an audience, you're probably doing it the same way. David Fincher wants to do it different ways. He's also thinking about, again, going to the detail-oriented... I didn't put this one in my notes, but going into the detail-oriented aspect of his nature, he's thinking about every single thing that you're looking at on screen and wanting to make it perfect and coherent. And when you're editing, everything has to look the same. I saw something that Mark Ruffalo said where he was doing like 40 takes in something in Zodiac. It was his first day. Maybe not, but I'm going to say it was his first day. And he kept doing take after take. And somewhere in the middle of it, he was like, well, I'm going to get fired for this. At least I'll get paid, you know? Wow. And then David Fincher says cut, walks up to him, walks right by him, and then moves an extra in the background 2 inches to the left, comes back to in front of the screen, gives Mark Ruffalo a tap on the shoulder. Good job, Mark. And then just keeps going. And he was like, oh, okay. Yeah. It's not me. He's just doing a billion takes.
A lot going on.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. So, quote from Fincher, my philosophy is you spend $250,000 on a set. You put on a sound stage, that costs $5,000 a day. $8,000 on lights, $150,000 on crew members, actors from all over the world. And the idea is to get them out as soon as possible. That doesn't make any sense to me. He says, I want to make sure that we get it. I don't want to have to say, well, we tried. My process is to give you 17, 18, 25 bites at the apple. That's from an article in the Far Out magazine, although I also saw an interview, so maybe that was just aggregated. And 25 bites at the apple, I think that's on the under, based on what we've heard. So he also had a quote, which I thought was cool, not necessarily pertaining to this specific topic of doing multiple takes, but films are never finished, they're abandoned. Just always tinkering, always wants to do more.
Always something to do.
So that's pretty interesting.
Tell.
You can. I mean,
he puts in the work.
Again, I talked about it earlier. I'm not necessarily the best person to discuss specific techniques that he's using, but the end product speaks for itself. It's really great to look at. Often, even in his really dark movies, the frames and the shots are beautiful, and he gets really good performances out of his characters. Or out of his actors, excuse me. He's also a CGI genius, a stealth CGI genius. You wouldn't really...
Stealth CGI, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, you wouldn't really...
He uses it in the smallest of ways.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it's pretty obvious, and in his early films, it doesn't always hold up, you know?
Right.
Back in the day, they seemed a lot more impressive, and now it's like, oh, that's definitely CGI.
Right, I know. I have a couple coming up.
But... they're still brilliant, and the fact that he thought of them is great. And I respect that it also probably, I was thinking about this, bumps up his budget a lot. Or it's like the movie studio is like, man, you're really going to make us spend all this money on this one little thing?
On zooming out of a trash can in Fight Club.
Yeah, what the hell? But it works. I mean,
does.
It's cool. It's cool little thing.
And it's cool he can just
conceive like all of his movies, and it doesn't seem like he would.
Well, and we touched on Benjamin Button too. I mean, it looks really good.
Yeah, that one worked.
Yeah.
And the Winklevoss twins worked really well.
Right. Good point. And that's another one. And again, it's not where you're not like watching a Marvel movie where everything's done on a green screen, so you don't necessarily notice it, but he really knows how to implement that into the story.
He loves going through walls.
He does.
And it's funny that, you know, he does it a lot in Fight Club, and then his next movie is Panic Room, and it's like essentially a movie about going through walls. You know what I mean? He's like, ooh, I'm gonna make a movie where everybody's in different rooms so I can go through walls.
You thought you saw it in Fight Club. Get ready. Right. Well, so that kind of leads into our next, and we just go ahead.
And in Panic Room, it looks better than in Fight Club.
It does, yeah.
Panic Room is really beautifully shot. It's kind of crazy. It's like the movie's like it's pretty good, but it's like really, really well shot.
And that's kind of hard to do when you're all like in one setting, pretty much the entire movie.
Right.
You know, you really have to have the geography of the building. It's like a 3 or 4 story building. There's several rooms, and yet you're never really confused where any of the characters are.
Right.
It's really, you know, impressive how he does that. So that kind of leads into our next top 5, which is top 5 technical achievements by David Fincher in a movie. So we can go a bunch of different ways. Camera movements, single shots, CGI, just kind of like the first one was an emotional reaction to the what the fuck scenes. And these are moments where you notice his technical prowess at work. Who went first last time? I think you did. I'll go first this time because I got a little bit of everything. And these aren't necessarily the best, but I did want to hit a bunch of them. I don't really have them ranked this time.
Yeah, neither do I. And I have more than 5 written down, but
that's okay. You can fill in the holes where I have. So I got, speaking of Panic Room, that scene where where the camera goes outside the bedroom door, through the banister, all the way down the several flights of stairs, through the kitchen, into the keyhole where you see the key going in, then back through the kitchen following, you know, the intruders they didn't work on the keyhole, so they're going around the back of the house. You don't see them, but the camera goes back through the kitchen. It goes through the handle of a coffee pot, and then you kind of see them trying to break into the back door. That doesn't work, so it kind of does another little flourish up to another door where they're lowering the ladder from the outside, and then it goes through, I think, another banister and up to the top skylight where you can see them walking around, then comes through the hallway and into another closet door where they finally break in through a hatch on the top. It's just like, I mean, a lot of it's CGI.
Yeah.
And you can tell, the movie's 15 years old at least.
Right.
No, more than that, 20 almost.
Yeah.
So you can tell, but it's just, I don't know how you conceive of all that in the first place. And then at the time, it's just incredible.
Yeah. And I just remember there being, I have a different one written down, but I remember there being a big one. And that's the big one.
That's the big one.
Yeah. Like the one I have written down, though, is the going through the storm drain into the flashlight.
Oh yeah.
And then out of the flashlight. And, as she's doing the signal.
Doing the Morse code.
Yeah. And it's like in the rain. That's
a good one.
That's a good one.
Fincher makes his bag.
Yeah.
The next one I have, you've already mentioned, so I won't touch on it too much, but the killer fight scene.
Yeah.
Yes, what the fuck moment. What's happening? It's a crazy violent fight scene.
Right.
But just technically, it's a really well choreographed scene.
Super well choreographed.
Again, you know where you are with the geography based on their going throughout the house.
And that one's all practical effects.
Yeah.
There's like no CGI in that. Or, I mean, I'm sure there might be, but
the blood's probably CGI or something, you know. But they're using props. He's showing you where the gun is at all times when they drop the gun.
Right.
It's just really great.
Yeah.
I have opening credits as a whole because his opening credits are fun and interesting and kind of set the tone for what you're about to see in the movie. The one I put down
loves credits.
Huh?
Homie loves credits.
He does.
Yeah.
The one I have is the Zodiac after the cold open and that first murder.
Yeah.
You're getting the credits. You're seeing, what's his name? Naismith? Well, you're seeing Jake Gyllenhaal's character kind of go throughout his day, but then you see the first letter arrive in the mail, and then you're following the mail through the newspaper to get to where it eventually goes, through the newspaper building?
The Chronicle.
The Chronicle.
Yes.
What's the word I'm looking for? Through the Chronicle building. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
and until it eventually gets to where it's going, it's really, really cool.
Yeah. I was watching it last night, and Alex was like there at the beginning of it. She's like, "Oh, we're following the letter. I get it. That's pretty cool."
Yeah, it's really good. Also, Seven is really good.
Seven is really good, and Social Network is really good too.
I don't remember that
walking
one.
through.
Campus?
Walking through campus, yeah. And it's you're getting the little piano.
Dragon Tattoo's good too.
Dragon Tattoo is great. I have Dragon Tattoo written down for opening credits.
It's good.
It is crazy, dude. I remember
they're playing like the Led Zeppelin cover.
Yeah. I just remember being like, "Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a fucked up movie."
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's creepy, it's weird, it's loud.
Next one I have a shot in here. It's not necessarily the most technically proficient shot, but maybe his most iconic shot. And that's the math on the window for Social Network when they're doing the equations, when they're first doing the algorithm. I just think it's cool. I've never forgot that shot. It's pretty we've seen other people do it. Like they do it in The Beautiful Mind and stuff. I mean, it's not like the most innovative, but it works. I don't even why would you be doing it on the window too? I don't get it, but it's awesome.
Right. Yeah, it works. Probably totally fictional. And that is not the shot that I thought you were going to say, because you referenced a shot yesterday, right? And I was
when we were going through it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You got a different one. Oh, good. And then the last one I have, we mentioned a few of these, but Fight Club does a lot of interesting stuff. The pilot light scene in his apartment where everything blows up. The garbage can we just talked about. The fake plane crash is really good. And then I also have, I'm doing like 5 from Fight Club.
Yeah, the fake plane crash.
But then also the beginning where, you see him with his gun in his mouth, and then the inner monologue is going on, and he's going over the planned terrorist act, I guess we'll say. Yeah. And it zooms out of the building all the way down into the basement. You see the bombs, then it zooms across the street where everything is going. Yeah. It's just like great. And then at the very end,
guy loves going through walls.
He does. And then at the very end, you get to that scene where you're back at the same scene, and Edward Norton's character eventually shoots himself in the face, which I don't know why that would kill your alter ego, but shoots himself in the face. The actual shot is like his cheek is going out, and it's partially CGI and partially like
practical.
Yeah,
really?
I remember years ago I saw how
they blow like something in his mouth, right?
Except I think it's like a silicone mouth to make it actually go like really far out there, and then they like CGI'd that silicone effect onto his face. I don't even remember exactly how they did it, but really impressive. So that's what I got.
Yeah.
Anything I missed?
Let's see. Benjamin Button we already touched on. I mean, that movie is just full of amazing shots. It's just like shot after shot.
It is, yeah.
One I'm thinking of is like the boat with the rocket ship going up in the background.
Oh yeah. I was thinking all those sunset shots on the dock.
Yeah. Well, that's a sunset shot too.
Is it?
I got Winklevoss twins. That's super impressive. It just works. I didn't know that Armie Hammer didn't have a twin for like a while. I thought it was definitely 2 people. I have San Francisco and Zodiac. It's very CGI.
Yeah.
It's super cool.
It looks great.
Looks really good. And it's just, I mean, as a Bay Arean, it's very fun to see old San Francisco.
Yeah.
And my shot that I was talking about was the shot in 7 in the rain where he's holding the gun.
I had that on and I deleted it.
Oh man, yeah. It's a great shot. And also when it cuts to Brad Pitt and he's like looking up at him, but yeah.
Well, you're talking about when John Doe, after the chase scene, and he's holding the gun up to Brad Pitt's head.
And it's like raining and you can't see his face, and
it's a great shot.
Super great shot. It's like, ooh, this is what we're gonna get for the next 30 years also. Yeah. Fight Club apartment. Yeah, we got everything else.
Do you want to talk about additional scenes that maybe don't fit the first 2 categories?
I would.
Okay, fire away. You do this, because I got a couple, but
I don't have a 5th written down, unfortunately, but I'll give you my top 4 that I do have written down. We actually already talked about one, which was Enya. I think it's just everything about that scene
it's really good.
It's really good.
Really
it's
good
obviously
dialogue.
Super suspenseful, and also, well, I don't know if I should save this for potential later talking about this.
Save it.
Okay. One of my, and I've said this since I was a young lad and had, saw Seven early and loved it. One of my favorite film scenes is the library scene in Seven.
Oh.
With the opera is playing. He goes in at night. It's just like slow and beautiful. It's finally a moment where we're in a nice setting and it's kind of calm. He's doing his research. Morgan Freeman's doing his research. He's saying hi to the dudes who are playing poker. Now I don't remember.
I haven't.
But yeah, they're sitting around. All the workers there are sitting around. They say what's up to him. They know him like he's there all the time.
Right.
I don't know. It's just a great scene. Basement scene in Zodiac.
I had that.
And opening scene in Social Network. That's my number one.
I had that.
Yeah.
So I also had the confrontation scene in Social Network when he finds out
when he calls him out for the betrayal.
Yeah, I'm coming back for everything.
Yeah,
that's a
super
great scene,
and also a really good use of the piano when it ends. It's just
yeah. It's good. I might watch that tonight. Yeah. And then I had the Lee Allen interview in Zodiac.
Yeah, that's a real good one.
Really good scene. The camera's just like right up in everybody's face. The tension is super high. These guys are interviewing him or interrogating him, and they're like, they cannot believe that he's giving away some of the information he's giving away, and they're just like in shock, but at the same time they're remaining composed. They check out his watch.
Yeah.
Oh man,
the
it's
watch
just
thing is
good
great.
stuff. Really good stuff.
I also like, I mean, this isn't one of the greats, but I love in Zodiac when it's at the very end of the movie when she's like, I can't think of the actress's name, but he's like interviewing her and he's like trying to be like, his name is the other suspect who's not.
Yeah. Oh man, I can't remember.
Just watched it. Anyways, you're thinking of this, and she's like, "No, that's not his name." Yes, you're thinking of this.
Paul? Was it Paul? I can't remember.
Yeah, it's like
a short. They kept saying it's a short name.
And then he like gets up and leave. He's about to leave, and then she's like, "It's Lee." Which is just like nobody else's name Lee.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
oh my God.
Oh man, so good.
Good stuff.
Go watch that documentary.
Maybe I'll watch
Crazy.
that tonight.
Yeah.
After Social Network.
Scary.
What?
It's scary.
Okay. Tight.
It's honestly super intense.
Sounds good. All right. Should we dive right into it?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. Top 5 David Fincher movies. So I kind of thought we would do this a little bit differently. Usually we talk about our main top 5s and then we give, as many as 5 reasons as why we like a certain thing from that topic. We've kind of talked a lot about these movies already.
Right.
So I don't know that we necessarily need to go into a bunch of reasons why we like a movie.
And there aren't many to choose from, so there's most likely going to be some crossovers.
Yeah. So what I was thinking is we'll run through our top 5 and then maybe we'll try to come up with like a consensus. Now I have a question. Will this be our collective consensus or do we then do like the top 5 movies that David Fincher will be remembered for objectively?
Well, you're not going to be able to convince me of changing the list of my personal thing.
Well, I'm not trying to change yours because the same thing goes. Whatever you say.
Why don't we just let it flow naturally?
All right. Okay. You go first.
Okay. Me?
Yeah, you go first. Number 5.
I got Curious Case of Benjamin Button, dude.
Wow.
This is going to be I think this is going to be a big topic that we're going to have to break down.
Okay.
It is one of my more conflicting films, honestly, of how I feel about it. Do you want me to get into it right now?
I don't know. It's not that conflicting for me.
Right. 100%. And I get it. Yeah, we'll just wait, I suppose.
Okay. What's your number 4?
My number 4, Girl with a Dragon Tattoo.
Oh, I thought that would be higher for you based on previous conversations we've had.
Well, I am factoring in personal things and also the bigger picture a little bit.
Okay.
I do have a very big personal tie to A Girl with a Dragon Tattoo. I mean, I've just always loved it. It was also me and my girlfriend's first date movie, and when she sat next to me and watched that movie and enjoyed it, I was like, I got to keep her here. We're good.
That's it.
And it's come up and it's constantly in conversations. I've seen it a bunch of times. I've probably seen it more than most, maybe not 7, but
by contrast, I also saw that with my now wife. And she did not like that.
She
movie.
did not like it. No. Right. That checks out.
I told her we were doing a Fincher episode. She's like, okay, I'm going to sit that one out.
Yeah, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo is great. I think it's just throws him back into 7, you know, for the first time in when did 7 come out? It's
95.
95. Yeah, so the first time in 15 years we're kind of getting, you know, what he set out to do.
Yeah, it definitely has. I mean, it's investigative, creepy, psychological thriller.
Yeah, really good dialogue too. I think for some time that Sorkin did that one too, even though it doesn't seem like a Sorkin movie.
No, but I get the dialogue's really good. In that scene that you were talking about, the murder room scene, the dialogue is great. How they're going back and forth with each other, and it's not overly done too. It's actually shorter than I remember. I just watched it again last night. Yeah, it's not overly done, but it's really good. All right, number 3.
Number 3, I got Zodiac.
This also hurts me a little bit.
Well,
just joking. Keep going.
Zodiac is kind of, I don't know, everything I like in certain, you know, it's got investigative, it's investigative with both like newspapers like Spotlight is, but then also crime, like any other detective movie. It's detective, it's an actual detective, and then it's a wannabe detective, both trying to figure out the biggest mystery ever.
And they don't figure it out.
Well, that could be up to debate. I mean, I think Homie was pretty convinced at the end of the movie that it was Arthur Lee Allen, which is, I think he almost got what he was looking for.
Right.
Personally, I think he found what he's looking for, but it didn't solve the case.
Didn't come to fruition, but that was a big point of the movie. He's like, I just want to know. I want to look in his eyes. And I want to know. Yeah. And he did, and that did pay off.
Right. Number 2, I got 7. Number 1, I got Social Network.
Yeah. I think if we're looking at Fincher as a whole, there are 3 movies that stick out for me, and then a bunch of other really good movies. Mm-hmm. And you had the 3 for me. Yeah. As the top 3.
As the top 3.
Yeah. So that's
kind of how I could have put Girl with the Dragon Tattoo maybe as number 3 just because I personally like it a lot.
Right.
But I just think it deserves to be those top 3 as the top 3.
I think I agree.
And yes, I omitted Fight Club, and I do not think it would be my number 6.
That's fair.
Hit me with your top 5.
All right, we'll kind of circle back to.
We got a lot to talk about.
So, I wrote this a couple nights ago, and then I watched A Girl with a Dragon Tattoo again last night. I've seen it several times. It's really good. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna keep my list the same.
Okay.
But I want you to know that I'm not certain about it.
I'm already my feelings are already hurt.
I'm sorry for hurting your feelings. I just want you to know that I'm not sure. But I have The Killer at number 5.
Jeez. My God.
I really like
one of the greatest directors of all time. We got The Killer.
You had Benjamin Button.
That movie should have been way better. Sorry.
So should have Benjamin Button.
Yes, but I admit to that.
Well, see, okay, but The Killer is what it is, and it's not anything more, and I like it.
Okay.
Like, it's not.
I get it.
It's not going for the Oscars. It's just like, we're gonna make a sick crime drama, and I think it's a sick crime drama. All right. Okay. All right. Number 4, I got Gone Girl.
Whoa.
Yeah, I like Gone Girl a lot. It made me think. It's creepy. I don't know. I don't know. I just like it.
I guess I need to give it a rewatch, but I feel like I've watched it twice, and I feel like on my rewatch, I was like, still didn't do it for me.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That one's not like a personal project for me. Number 3, I got Social Network. I think my personal ranking of that is probably lower than most. It's great. I have nothing against it.
Yeah.
5-star masterpiece.
Yeah.
The next 2 are as well for me. I have 7, number 2. It's just incredible. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily want to watch it every week, but it's just great. I have nothing. I can't say anything bad about 7, and I won't. And number 1, I have Zodiac.
Yeah.
It's a weird comfort movie for me.
I feel that. It's slow enough to be that, you know what I mean? You're like living in the world.
And other than like 4 or 5 scenes, it's really not that intense.
Right. But those 4 or 5 scenes are some of the most shocking scenes you've ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even the first one, we haven't really even talked about the first one. When that car turns around, man.
Oh my God.
It's just
incredible.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Also, does she know him?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I know that, and that's part of it.
Well, I guess we don't ever know for sure because we don't know who the Zodiac is for sure. But like, I think they play it up like she knows because she's like watching and she recognizes the car.
Right. Which also makes me feel like they do take a stance on who it was.
Well, the film definitely does.
Right.
The film tells you it's Lee Allen.
Yeah.
I mean, in the end, because at the end they have that guy.
I would say that's probably the biggest sign.
Well, that and the guy at the end who is supposed to be the guy in the first murder who lives, they catch up with him at like an airport or something. Yeah, yeah. And they're like, can you identify him?
In the beginning also.
Don't you know I clocked that?
Yeah.
So dope.
From Boy Meets World, which was Josh's band's name, which we actually talked about in the last episode too.
Did we?
Yeah, it came up.
Oh. Yeah, my band name was Minkus, and then when he showed up in Zodiac, it just cemented the number 1 stats. That's pretty good. All right, so how do you want to do this?
I just want to talk about Benjamin Button.
Go ahead. You have the floor.
I don't think there's any other movie that, for so much of the movie, for maybe not so much, but for at least half of the movie, it's posed to be my favorite movie of all time. I find a lot of comfort in it.
Okay.
I love movies that go through history and, you know, it's very Forrest Gumpy.
Yeah.
But I think it's a more mature and less cheesy Forrest Gump, but also maybe less successful about, you know, all the way through.
Right.
But at the beginning of that movie, I just like love the adventure. I love him going places and seeing things. I love the vibe of being in New Orleans and the music. And it's obviously bizarre and extremely like fantastical without going in that way, kind of what we were talking about before. In that way, it is smaller. It's like a big fantastical concept that they, you know, play pretty small, but then make his story pretty grand.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, the shots and the cinematography is great.
Really great.
It does fall off in the third act quite a bit.
Yeah.
And it is kind of a bummer. And which is, you know, that's the part that honestly really, unfortunately, takes it out for me, is that it's pretty sad at the end.
Yeah.
And it feels pretty, but it's so not sad throughout the whole rest of the film. And of course it's going to be sad. I mean, you're getting a whole person's life, you know? And he's like a little fucked up kid that, you know, there's no happy ending to
Here's
it.
my counter. That movie's boring. Really? Oh my goodness. I do not go into a
Says the guy who watched it with commercials.
Well, fair, but I don't go into a David Fincher movie looking to be bored. Oh my goodness. I agree with everything you said about the first half. It sounds like you like the first half a lot more than I did, but I agree with you. It's fun, it's adventurous, and then that all stops. Yeah. And it just turns into a really boring love story. And there are a couple flourishes in the movie that I just think are overdone, which I hate to say because I love Fincher, but like the part where Cate Blanchett's character gets hit by a car and they're going through all the different scenarios of the timing. I get it. The movie's about time. I get it. But like, if this character doesn't pull over and have a cup of coffee, and if this character sets his alarm clock right, and if this character does this character that, if the car doesn't back out in time, she doesn't get hit by the car. But all those things happen just perfectly and she gets hit by a car. It looks great. It's a fun sequence to watch. It's just not necessary. I'm just like, none of the rest of the movie is like this. And then this is in there. And it just doesn't make any sense. Also,
but there's a lot of like weird vignettes throughout that movie.
Yeah. I mean, like story vignettes. Sure. But like, I don't know any of these characters, and they're just thrown in there haphazardly to me. It just didn't work for me.
Yeah.
And then another thing, Becky and I were talking about it. Very few people actually bring up or acknowledge the fact that this dude is aging backwards.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a negative for me.
I mean, like, they go to Taraji Henson's? Is that her last name? His surrogate mother's funeral. And no one's seen this guy for years. Last time they saw him, he was 75 years old. And he's sitting there in the funeral, and he looks like Brad Pitt. And they're all like, oh, she was a great woman. So sorry for your loss. It's like, how do you even recognize this dude? And why can't you be like...
They knew he was aging backwards. Growing up.
I don't know. They don't acknowledge it.
I mean, he was born an old man.
Right.
And was...
But when he's in the old man... When he's in that old person's home, I don't know what you would call it. Like, everybody just treats him like an old person. And they're like, wow, you've looked a little bit better than the last time I saw you. But then that person dies because they're old. And so it never really gets like hashed out.
Right, that's true. That's a good point.
Now, I assume off screen maybe they had some conversations, but like, again, at the funeral, everyone they haven't seen him in years. And they're coming up to him and be like, I'm so sorry for your loss. Not like, wow, dude, you look pretty good. There's no scene with a doctor saying like, I've never seen this case before in my life. I wish there was something like that.
It feels very...
It's just surface level for me, and it just doesn't work.
I don't know. Feel that part of all feels very fantastical and like, feels like a fable to me.
Yeah.
That it doesn't get, brought up. It's kind of like...
I'm glad it works for you.
It's kind of like, who knows what goes on in New Orleans, They got people aging backwards. They got,
I guess. Yeah, it just... I mean, I don't hate it. It's technically impressive. It's a beautiful film to look at.
Beautiful.
And the first, half, I like. It's fine. I like it. But the second half is just like, my goodness. Also, on some level,
I'm ready for you to rewatch this movie.
It won't be anytime soon. I understand on some level why Brad Pitt's character has to leave because he's aging backwards, but I don't really understand why he has to do it at night and never watch his daughter grow up. Like,
right.
Kids are pretty smart.
Leave at what point?
Like, he leaves when his daughter's like 1. He's like, I don't want her to remember me at all because I don't want her to live, like whatever. And then he just leaves and ditches out as a dad. And she has to
like
go
at the end? When does he?
Yeah. At the end of the love story, they have a daughter.
Yeah.
And then he bounces out.
Yeah.
Kids are pretty smart.
That's part of the sad thing that I don't like.
It's just like, I don't understand why you have to do that right now. It's just, I don't get it.
Yeah.
And then the film goes on for another 45 minutes. I'm just like, man, wrap it up.
Yeah.
Jeez. So it's not my favorite. I don't hate it, but it would probably be in my bottom 3 Fincher movies.
Yeah. So would The Killer for me.
Damn. Got him.
Disappointing.
We should talk about Fight Club.
Okay.
I think if you're making an objective, like these 4, like a Mount Rushmore, or like these 4 or 5 movies that Fincher will be remembered for, I think Fight Club's on the list.
For sure.
I heard what you said about it, and I completely agree. It's not my favorite.
Yeah. It also, we were right there, even more so you, where it was just like everybody's favorite movie.
Yeah.
And like, people love the anti-establishment of it, and it like, in the pop culture-ness of it, the twist and everything, and it just got overdone. It just got overhyped. People got annoying with it.
I completely agree.
It feels like kind of annoying now when I watch it. It's also such a guy movie.
Yeah.
Which a lot of his movies are kind of, or
definitely.
He's
but
not
this
great
is
at
like
fleshing out female characters, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's definitely something worthy to be mentioned.
Yeah.
I think you kind of hit on what I wanted to say, in that I don't like doing this, but for this movie and for others, but definitely for this movie, I sort of let the outside discourse seep into my opinion of it. And it's big into... It got a little annoying. The people that really championed this movie, at least in my age group, were kind of annoying at the time.
Yeah.
And it deals with some pretty intense stuff that I think the filmmakers and actors wanted to deliver in a satiric way.
Yeah.
But
it's also his most like stylized and satirical. Sorry.
Well, yeah, but I think a lot of people took some of that stuff a little too literally.
Yeah.
And the message in like a positive light, like, I'm down with,
non-corporate things.
Yeah. I'm not trying to say that part of the message is good or bad or wait. You get what I'm saying? Like, I think a lot of the stuff about advertising and the corporatization of everything and how we sort of numb ourselves with television and mindless purchases and whatever else that film, like, that's all true. And I agree with it.
Right.
I don't necessarily think it's the worst part of society, whatever. But the other part, the violence and the, toxic masculinity is a term that gets thrown out there. I think that was created for movies like this.
Yeah.
And I think that part is a little sour for me, for this movie in particular.
Right.
It's just...
It also is interesting, the anti-establishment, more of the corporate things. There are a couple lines, because they go into it pretty early in the movie.
Yeah, they do.
And a couple of lines are very basic. As far as presenting the idea of non-corporation, which makes me think that this was, a pretty early movie of talking about that, or at least, set some trends. But like now
which is fine and good.
Yeah. And now watching it, it's like, oh, this has been redone so many times and said a lot more eloquently and a lot like less straightforward. It's like very blunt and kind of, obvious. So, there's probably part of that should boost this movie up, that it was a little more groundbreaking maybe than I remember, or, I didn't experience that part of it.
Yeah. Well, you were a little young when it came out.
Yeah, I was 8 when it came out.
Yeah, that's way too young to watch this movie.
Right.
And it's a good movie. I laugh when I watch it. I don't want to seem like I don't like the movie.
Yeah.
But some of his other movies I love. And this, comparatively to how a lot of people are so passionate about this movie, I just don't feel that same passion.
Right.
And I want people to watch Zodiac instead.
Okay, so does Fight Club make our consensus top 5, even though it didn't make either of our top 5s? Well, okay, maybe we put it there because obviously we're not going to pick Curious Case of Benjamin Button or The Killer.
Correct. Again, if we're doing this from like a historical, this is what David Fincher should be remembered for.
Maybe we should.
I think it does have to be in there. And I think the
maybe
other
even
3...
higher.
Yeah, honestly. I think the other 3 that we mentioned
are also in there.
Are cemented. I think they're our favorites. I also think they should be the ones that people talk about.
Yeah.
Social Network and Seven were both really big commercial successes too.
Yeah, huge.
And Zodiac, I think, while not the same commercial success, has had an afterlife of being recognized critically as at least a pseudo.
Yeah, when it came out, and I might be guilty of this, it wasn't like everybody's favorite movie. I'm still shocked at it. If it was in the years of 10 nominations, I think it would have been nominated.
I do too.
But
it's also, it's pretty dark. It's not that dark.
It's not that dark. Even the
it's also pretty
the
funny.
Basement scene. Yeah, Robert Downey Jr. is super funny in it.
Yeah, we didn't talk about him.
Yeah, he's great in it.
Oh, you were talking about how you didn't necessarily love Zodiac.
Oh, at the time.
At the time. Which I agree. When I saw it, I liked it.
I remember thinking it was really long.
It is really long.
Well, yeah. But
I don't feel that way anymore.
I don't either, but I also think that you are kind of supposed to feel like it's long. I was thinking about this last night. I think, you really feel that Jake Gyllenhaal has been thinking about this for a long time. Yeah. And people are over it. And, especially knowing that they never come to, it never gets officially solved in history.
Right.
You're watching it and you're like, man, dude, you're not going to figure it out. And then you kind of get it at the end, which is nice that they do that. But it's like at the very end.
Right. And it is a long movie. And a lot of the scenes sort of like feel the same. You know, they meet in a diner a couple times.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple scenes where people are getting phone calls late at night that sort of look the same. I wonder if that's intentional, where it's like almost confusing that way. And they're following different characters around.
Right.
So it's interesting. All right. So we're locking in. I think it's not my favorite, but I think Social Network's probably number one in the objective list.
Yeah. I mean, I think some people would easily put like 7 there. But I think Social Network is one of the more important films of the past 20 years. I
agree.
I think it would be my number one of the 2010s.
So let's do Social Network 1.
Mm-hmm.
This is the collective list.
Mm-hmm.
Social Network 1. I'm okay with doing 7 too.
Okay.
Because that was his first big
right.
I'm here moment.
Yeah.
And it holds up. It's still great.
So is Zodiac number 3?
I mean, I would like it to be number 3.
It is my number 3. So far, our list is my list.
Well, I would like it to be number 1 if we're being totally honest. But no, I think I think you could.
You want to do it number 2?
No.
Okay.
I think you could make the argument that Fight Club should be number 3, even though it's not my favorite.
Okay. I think we got to be more specific with our list, though. Is it what will he be remembered for, or is his greatest works of art that aren't our personal opinions? But I'm fine with doing Fight Club number 3.
I mean, Zodiac's just better in every way, though.
It is.
All right.
And
let's stick with our hearts. Let's
and
do
his
Zodiac number 3.
Okay.
Fight Club number 4.
Okay.
I'm okay with Dragon Tattoo number 5.
Wow.
I do love that movie.
It's pretty good.
Well, okay, here's the case for Gone Girl, though.
Refresh my memory on why Gone Girl is
awesome.
Yeah.
It's just like that twist in the middle, man, just gets me. And
it is really good.
And then it's like a psychological battle between Ben Affleck and Amy Dunn. I can't remember the actress's name right off the top of my head.
It's
Pike, something Pike.
Rosamund Pike.
Rosamund Pike, thank you. It's like a psychological chess game between those two who kind of know what the other one is doing. And then he gets who's the lawyer? He gets the lawyer involved. It's Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry's the lawyer who's great in it, and then he gets involved. That's a little bit of comedy relief there. I just think the whole thing is just captivating, and I'm like glued in the whole time, even though it's kind of a slow-paced movie. I just love it. But that's just my opinion. But the argument that it could be in the top 5 is that it is his biggest commercial success. So right now we have
what was the Oscar stuff for Gone Girl?
Oh, I don't know if there was anything.
Yeah, I mean, she got nominated for Best Actress.
Oh, tight. Right now we have Social Network, 7, Zodiac, Fight Club. I do think it's between Gone Girl and Dragon Tattoo.
About Panic Room.
It's good. It wouldn't be there for me.
No, but I was impressed by how well it was shot.
I like Panic Room.
Yeah, me too.
What are you looking up?
Yeah, I was just nominated for Best Actress.
What about Dragon Tattoo? Did that get any nominations?
It did, actually. Oh, yeah, she got nominated. As well she should. It's an incredible performance.
She's great.
Who beat her? She's my favorite. Honestly, one of my, dare I say, top 10 greatest characters in film.
Jeez.
It's so good.
Let's not lose the plot here.
She is incredible. Terrifying, badass, smart. It's very well written. What was I looking up? Best film editing. Oh, we haven't hardly even said the word editing once, but all of his films are incredibly edited.
Yeah,
they're flying around. It's great, and you're
really well paced.
Yeah, really well paced. Best actress, best cinematography, best sound mixing, and best sound editing. Sound editing was great. Did it win for it?
All right, you want to put that on the list?
Let's do it, man.
Okay, so basically your list, minus Benjamin Button.
True.
So we're doing Social Network 1, 7 2, Zodiac 3, Fight Club 4, Dragon Tattoo 5.
I like it.
I think that's a good list.
Amalgamation.
I mean, the reason I kind of wanted to do this is because I knew our lists were going to be pretty similar. But I do think that's like the good, objective. This is David Fincher's filmography list.
Right.
Well,
what are you throwing in there now?
I mean, I don't like it, but I do think Benjamin Button should at least be like.
Wait.
What
just happened?
Well, I don't want it in there, but it got nominated for 13 Academy Awards.
Of course it did. It's incredible. It's an incredible feat of film.
It's a bad movie year.
Jeez.
Mank got nominated for 10. Where do you stand on Mank?
Oh yeah, we hardly even touch Mank.
It's boring.
It is boring.
I don't like it.
I don't think I liked it very much either.
I
will say there are things of it that I did like.
We're almost at the 2-hour mark, by the way. So give me your Mank thoughts quick.
I like the dinner scene, like towards the end, where everything kind of came to fruition. It was good.
Oh yeah,
and it's like
where he's super drunk.
Yeah, and it's like in the mansion.
Yeah,
the Hearst mansion.
I guess.
I think it should have been color, and I think it should have been way more Fincherian.
Ooh, I like that.
The Fincherian candidate.
I think it should have been way more interesting.
Yeah, for real.
I just don't like it. Anyway, whatever. It's fine. It's not bad. It's just fine.
What are you saying on Citizen Kane?
I like Citizen Kane.
That's good.
It's better than Mank.
Yeah, I'll say.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's our consensus top. Well, no, we didn't.
One other shot was from Mank where he's in the hospital bed and Orson Welles comes in, and you're like, that's fucking Orson Welles.
Yeah. That was pretty good. I also like the shot where he meets what's her face for the first time, and the horses are running through the field, and that's really cool. I didn't want to put anything from Mank in there. I don't like that movie. Yeah. All right. Anyway, so okay, I'm actually vetoing my thought about Benjamin Button. I just don't like that movie. I don't want it in there.
Whoa, jeez.
So, it's fine.
Well,
2.5.
We're obviously not going to put it in there.
We're not. So
I'm fine with My Girl with a Dragon Tattoo. Trust me.
Final list is Social Network, Seven, Zodiac, Fight Club,
Girl with
a Dragon Tattoo, and those are all great movies. All right, I want to wrap this up. I got a few fun facts / questions / whatever for you. Are you ready?
Yes.
Fun fact number 1, and partly a question. Seven was shot in downtown L.A. What city was it originally intended to be shot in? It's a city.
Wait, was it intended to be shot in, or where is it set?
Nope.
Is it set in LA?
Nope, not set. Where did they initially want to shoot it? In real life, not necessarily in the movie. Because they don't name it as LA in the movie. It's, don't overthink it, Jack.
San Francisco?
Close.
New York?
Don't overthink it that much. Oakland. He wanted to shoot in Oakland because of the... we're from Oakland. That's why I said that. Because of the architecture on the houses.
Wow.
Yeah. But here's what I have.
Architecture on the houses?
Yeah, I forgot. They
don't even go into suburbs, do they?
I'm just telling you what I've read on the internet. Right. I haven't fact checked this. David Fincher didn't return my calls. But they only had Brad Pitt for 55 days. So to save time, they shot in downtown LA. And the rain, which is a huge part of the setting in the movie, was intentionally done in the event that they got rain and had a continuity error. So they just decided to make it rain all the time, which I don't know why you would expect rain in LA.
In LA, yeah. That doesn't make any sense.
That's just what, again, not totally sure. That's just what I read online.
Yeah, you can kind of tell it's studio rain in that movie. I will say that.
But I'm surprised the rain wasn't in there from the beginning, if this indeed excerpt
how do you have
right.
7 without rain?
I know, it's great. Apparently there's a Starbucks cup in every scene from Fight Club. Didn't know that. All the blood in Zodiac was digital because he does so many takes, so they didn't want to have to keep wiping up blood. So all the blood in Zodiac was digital, however, the oak trees in the Lake Berryessa scene were not there, but we're there at the actual crime scene. And so David Fincher, maniac that he is, flew in actual oak trees, had them planted so that he could see shoot the scene. Because in the real life crime report, the Zodiac Killer does hide behind the oak tree, which he does in the movie, and that's super scary and terrifying, and I have nightmares. But he actually flew in oak trees rather than just doing it digitally. I don't know. Guy's a maniac. Love it.
Have you ever been to Lake Berryessa?
Nope. Never will go.
Super creepy. Didn't know. When I went there, I had already seen Zodiac, but didn't know it was Lake Berryessa. I'm so happy I didn't know at the time.
Ghosts.
Because I got weird vibes anyways.
I'm not going. David Fincher has been nominated for Best Director 3 times. Name the 3 movies.
Mank, Benjamin Button, and Gone Girl. And I can't think of his filmography right now when we just discussed it for 5 hours. Oh, Social Network.
Yeah. You beat me by half a second. It was like, wow, you're forgetting the big one.
The big one.
Yeah, so David Fincher.
Yeah.
We love him.
We love him.
Make more movies.
Can't wait for the
Bitter Root.
Sign
me up. I already bought tickets.
Yeah.
Sounds great. Thanks so much. That's been the High Fives podcast centered around David Fincher. Tell us what you think about our list.
Yeah, give us your top 5s.
Yeah, give us a list of your own. If you want to see other lists around this or other directors, we'd love to hear about it. We love ideas. So thanks so much for listening. And should we tease next week?
Let's do it. Nah, save it.
Save it.
It's going to be a good one, though. We already kind of gave you little hints sprinkled throughout.
Yeah. No, we'll save it. Okay. All right. Thanks so much for listening. If you liked it, like and subscribe. We'd appreciate that. And we'll see you in the next one.